Um, I guess this could work. Yeah, that'll work. Cool. Maybe let's actually start the video. Hey guys, Mike here and welcome back to another video. Today we are diving right back into 31 Days of Horror 2025 edition. Let's go! I am really excited for this year. I have a lot of good movies picked out. There's going to be a certain theme that you might pick up on, and no, it's not going to be sequels, which we will get into later. But overall, this is continuing the tradition that I started last year for 31 Days of Horror 2024. If you haven't, you could go watch the video right here, or if you want to see where it really started, you go ahead and go into my letterbox. I have it listed right there. So without further ado, let's get into some rules and specifics before we actually get into the tradition. So if you're new here, 31 Days of Horror is every day in October I watch one horror movie. And I keep doing that until Halloween. Halloween, we have a set movie that we always watch. It is tradition for me. I will always watch it that day. So there's that. I explained that in the last video, which, yeah, if you haven't seen, go watch. So yeah, we're going to get into some rules because, once again, last video explained rules in depth. So we're going to kind of speed run this. We do got 2 new rules that I will talk about, but let's speed run the others. So first up, we have 1 franchise per slot. That's pretty much what that is. So Friday the 13th, we only get 1 movie that year. We'd have to wait another year for another Friday the 13th. Horror is a loose genre. What I mean by this is I am not sticking strictly to horror. I'm sticking things that are horror adjacent and obviously regular traditional horror. But horror is a very loose genre, so there are maybe some movies on here that you wouldn't classify as horror, but I do, and are like say horror thriller. 2 sides of the same coin. Another rule is no current year movies. So 2025, no Sinners, no Bring Her Back. As much as I really want Bring Her Back to be on here, I can't put those on. Any movies from 2024 and beyond are fair game. And now for the new rule. The new rule is if I miss a day, I have to double up. What this means is, say October 3rd, I somehow didn't have time to watch that movie. October 4th, I have to watch both October 3rd's movie and October 4th's movie. 4th, yeah, that's the word. The reason why this rule got brought up was because last year I did miss some days, and I did have to, let's say, triple up. I had to watch 4 movies in one day. It was really bad, but honestly, I'd rather scrap my entire YouTube channel than miss one day or skip a movie in general. I have backups. Like, here's the thing. I have an initial movie, and then I have a backup just in case that first one doesn't work, can't find it, or anything. So I will have to double up on days that I do miss, and yeah, that's that list. Rule. Sorry, I meant to say rule, not list. Same thing. Another specific thing I do want to talk about is that there are going to be sequels on here. If you remember from my 2024 edition, there are a lot of the first movies on there. So Nightmare on Elm Street 1, Friday the 13th 1, Scream 1. Some of those sequels will be on this list. I will do my best to not have as many in the future. Like, for example, this year, sorry, spoilers, Conjuring 2 isn't going to be on here. But say, like, next year, I'll have Conjuring 2 on there and then another sequel not on there. I will do that because I do want to balance out regular movies and sequel franchise movies. So that is the reason that specific is on there. I will try to tone it down in the future, and I will not be as sequel-y on this list. I do have a lot of movies that I haven't seen before or am rewatching, so I just want to try to balance out the list like that. Now, lastly, and the most important one, honestly, is respect people's opinions about movies. Whether it's my opinion, whether it's the guy next to you, whether it's the guy at the Winco, or respect people's opinions when it comes to their movie tastes. I don't want you guys to be fighting. I don't want you guys to be disagreeing but then being an asshole about it. I want you guys to be respectful because, like I said, it's art. Art is made so everyone has a different take on it or a collective take on it. But more importantly, everyone views it differently. So please respect my opinions and respect other people's opinions. That is the one big thing that I ask. So yeah, the day I'm recording this, 2024 edition just dropped. So it's not until tomorrow that I actually start this list on October 1st. I will be going every day. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into the list. Alright, so It Chapter 1 or It 2017, it honestly has a couple names. I'm going to call it It 2017. That's the best way and the only way that I've been calling it. Right off the bat, the cinematography kind of shocked me a little bit. I'm going to be honest. The cinematography shocked me a little bit. I honestly didn't expect it to be that good. But when those first few frames came in and it's the suburban outside, it surprised me a little bit. I can't even lie. So another thing is, in the beginning, the rain, honestly, it kind of looks like it's in sunlight. It's kind of like what Nope did, where they filmed the night scenes during the day. It kind of feels that way with this beginning scene with Georgie. I don't know why, but for some reason it does. Another thing is, it does kind of feel like the OG in the beginning with the piano and the slow shots and the credits. It kind of reminded me of the original It, and it was kind of cool to see that. The music sounded familiar. I'm pretty sure that was the original It theme, but it sounded pretty familiar. Right off the bat, the basement scene already set some atmosphere that would be going forward in the movie, such as the eyes. I remember seeing that in theaters, and I remember being a little bit scared, and then it's a fake out and it's the bulbs. That is really good, I'm not gonna lie. So a little bit of a story. It 2017 was actually the first horror film that I saw in theaters, so that might be why I really like this movie. Still, it still holds up. But yeah, I saw this movie in theaters back then. First horror movie in theaters, and once again, one of those movies that helped me overcome my fear of horror. So Pennywise's first appearance is pretty iconic now. I remember everyone would be talking about it back then, and it still holds up really good. It's still disgusting how he drools over Georgie's arm. Like, he's looking at Georgie and he's drooling over it. You could see it, and it is it's so gross, and it works so well in its favor. So another thing is, the kids in this movie honestly feel a lot more fleshed out, more organic, I want to say. They have like a real kind of aspect to it rather than the original. I'm going to try not to compare. You know what? Never mind. But they have such an organic friendship, honestly. Like, to the point where Richie's the funny one and his comedy is like rampant throughout the entire movie. And usually it's kind of cringe, but I think having his friends be like, bro, what, is like really good at helping it feel kind of real. Because once again, you got to think about, these are like kids, teenagers. They kind of are a little bit cringe. Everyone is. I mean, Ben during the scene with Beverly.
Please don't go, girl. That's the name of another New Kids on the Block song.
Just a little bit. Another thing is, Henry kind of feels like meaner, like way more psychopathic, meaner in this one than the generic one that he is in the OG. Now, granted, they don't say a racial slur in this movie, but they do say other ones. Yeah, wasn't a fan of that, but I mean, it's the 80s and mean people talk in stupid, disgusting ways. So yeah, that was like, I don't want to say natural because it's not, and it shouldn't be, but it fit the time period. Let's go with that. Another thing is, I was watching this with my mom, and she pointed out there's a lot of boat imagery in the beginning, and now that I think about it, there really was. And I really like how it's kind of throwing it in Bill's face that the last time he saw Georgie, he kind of, like, in his words, or I'm pretty sure in his mind, killed him with the boat because he made him the boat. So I like how it's throwing that in his face. You could kind of like interpret it as Pennywise going like your brother's dead. Now, here's the thing that really works well, and this is the movie's like greatest strength, is that their atmosphere and scene setting is beautiful. It is phenomenal. It is good. Like, they set the tone and then they roll with it. Even with like the settings. I want to say the library scene when the old lady is looking at Ben. They have a lot of that, by the way. They have a lot of look in the background. Pennywise is there. It is really good. And I really like how the adults are kind of weird, but I like how they're like oblivious. They're like, that's just kids being kids. Mainly the part when Henry's cutting his name into Ben's stomach. And there's another thing that I do like about these characters feeling organic and fleshed out, is that Belch is hesitant. He's like, Henry, come on. Like, he has that decency that, you know, someone probably would. And it really works in its favor, making these feel real rather than in the OG. They kind of feel like, Henry and his goons, hee. Maybe I shouldn't use the word goon, but whatever. I really like the world bending that Pennywise does, specifically to these kids. Like, everyone gets their scene with Pennywise and their fear, and it's so good. Honestly, my like personal favorite is Mike's. I think just having that atmosphere, having that gut punch real scene, real horror aspect for him was really good. I loved it. When I first watched it in theaters, that was like the moment that I like kind of fell in love with the movie, and I still love that scene to this day. It is still eerie. It is so good. And honestly, Mike is my favorite character. I wish he got a lot more screen time. I wish he got more to do with the story, but I do like Mike. He is one of my favorite characters. There's a library scene with Ben. You know, the scene where the headless kid is coming down the stairs. Honestly, I like kind of said it out loud. I told my mom, hey, this reminds me of that Goosebumps cover, the Headless Ghosts. And honestly, I could see it. I think it's funnier. What Pennywise calls Ben, he goes, hey, egg boy. And then he turns around and his head is right there. I think it's supposed to be a jump scare, but it came off more as goofy. And that's another thing that, honestly, Pennywise kind of lacks. Pennywise isn't that goofy in this than he is in the original, and honestly it kind of shows. He's more, I don't want to say aura farming, that is so dumb, but that is like the closest thing that comes close to that. I mean, he pops up, he's scary, he's like, hello, and yeah, he's more of just like I'm watching you, rather than Tim Curry's like, I'm watching you, but I'm gonna make you laugh because I'm a clown. Which, speaking of which, I do like how the Tim Curry Pennywise doll is in the room with Richie. It is really funny. It is really cool to see that, and I like how they play homage to that. That was really nice. That stupid scene where Pennywise has the hand and he's going, it's so funny and so stupid, and I love it. Pennywise is like, kind of has stupid humor in it, but here's the thing. He is still scary as fuck, I'm gonna be honest. I have notes to the side right here, and it's so funny because I put, ew, pedo doctor, because it is such an uncomfortable scene. And then right under that, because the scene with Beverly's dad comes after, I put, why are all the men weird in this town? So another thing this movie does well is that it has a lot of background talk in it. Like, if you listen closely, you get just people talking about stuff. Like, the banter between Eddie and Richie was good. You kind of hear a lot more stuff that happens in the background. It's a world setting, it is story setting. It is really good how they kind of hide that a little bit, because it's kind of like your own, like hanging out with people. There's side conversations going on, and it kind of tells you a little bit about them or something. There's always something going on, and I really like how it kind of puts you in the shoes of being the friend that's not listening while other people are talking, because it works really well. That's how some friendship groups are. Another thing that I do like is that the music distorts a lot. There are times when the music just starts distorting to show you that something's about to happen, or that Pennywise is here. Specifically, what I'm thinking of is the bathroom scene with Beverly. how she reads the note and then the music distorts and you hear like Patrick and all the other kids down the drain. It's really cool. I like that because once again, it adds to the atmosphere that this film actually builds up so well. I can't stress it enough. The atmosphere in this movie is really good, and I really like how they have an emphasis on fear. It's like telling you fear, but they're making you feel it, I want to say, with their set. Really good. I just want to say, like, Eddie with the goddamn inhaler was so like annoying because I'm like, I don't think that's how inhalers work. And then you find out that they're all like placebo, and you're like, okay, that makes sense why he doesn't know how to use a damn inhaler, because that's not how that works. I just want to say, like anytime like Pennywise is like trying to terrorize the children, it always works so well, and it always looks so good. I'm not even joking. The kitchen scene with Eddie when he breaks his arm looks amazing, and then when they stab him and like his form is like coming out, that is good. That is like a mix of, I want to say, CG and practical, but it blends so well that I can't even tell. I don't know what's practical, what's CG, but it's so good. And then the fight at the very end, honestly, I really liked, like, using different tactics and different scares against the kids. It worked so well. It was like a last ditch effort because Pennywise feeds on fear and they're not afraid, and he's trying to make them afraid, and it works so well. It looks good, and I'm just like, it was really impressive, honestly. I forgot about that, and it really added to me loving this movie because I do like it. I do love this movie more than the original. Well, I like this movie more than the kids section in the original. Let's just say that, because this one surpasses that, but this one's really good. It has a lot of things that I like and a lot of things that work for it. There are a couple grievances I do have with this, though, is that when Bill and Beverly kiss, that's when I was like, oh, that's an interesting direction. It doesn't really go anywhere, like, at all, but that's an interesting direction. Didn't really like it that much. Another thing that I hated was Henry's deleted scene. If you know, you know. If you don't, this is a scene where they're about to go, like, the Losers Club, I think that's what they're called, the Losers Club, is about to go into the Neibolt Street house, which, by the way, looks good, and Henry's in the car. In the original movie, you could see him in the background. Nice, smart. But in a deleted scene, it shows him watching them, and then it shows his friends dead. Like, he killed his friends. He killed Belch and the other person that I don't know the name of. Why did they cut that? It added so well. I get like, oh, look who's in the background. Ooh. But I'm like, that makes it so much better that you find out that he kills his friends, just like how he killed his dad, which that was another good scene. I wrote down TVs are weird because Pennywise was like, yeah,
Kill him. Kill him.
I do like that control that he has on other people, though, where he's like, yeah, do it. Fucking do it. I dare you. Do it. Come on, man. But yeah, those are some complaints. And again, I wish Mike got more screen time, and he didn't, which sucked. But those are my complaints for that. So honestly, we're starting off the year really, really good. And give this 4 out of 5. All right, audition. Did not expect the movie to go the way that it did. I'm gonna be really honest. I just want to say, like, this movie was pretty disturbing and very, like, horror-esque. I have one question, though. How the fuck did this same guy make Ace Attorney or direct Ace Attorney? Like, I was talking to my friends last night. I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch Audition. And then he said, you should watch Ace Attorney. He did that movie. And I was like, oh, that's funny. And after seeing this movie, I was like, what the fuck? He has range, man. Also, I do want to say, I'm probably going to go a lot quicker because the last entry was like 13 minutes. And I realized I was going a little too long. So, sorry about that. Honestly, I'm going to take a break from dating, or, you know, just not get Hinge. Because, yeah. I also just want to say the office friend, I forgot his name. It starts with a Y. His work friend, work partner, someone. He was right. He was being so real. I'm going to be honest. He was like saying, hey, she's kind of weird. Be careful. Trust me, you're going to want to be careful. And he's like, at first he was like, the main character was like, okay. And then he's like, I'm going to go find her because of love. Bro, look how you ended up. But yeah, I did see a comment on Letterboxd that said, yeah, his office friend is going to have the biggest I told you so moment. And I was thinking like, yeah, no, for sure. Because there were so many red flags and he tried to tell him and he just ignored him. And honestly, he did this to himself. I mean, this movie was like a very different tone. This movie was a very different tone than what I was thinking it was going to be. It was more like a horror romance. At least that's what it was categorized as. And I could see the romance part. But the good thing about this movie, which didn't really like, because I don't like romance movies that much. I think they're a little bit cheesy and not really my taste. If you like them, that's cool. But it had a romance plot. And then you always got the sense that something was off. Like, I like that. It was like that little gut feeling like, ooh, that's a little bit weird. And then as they went on dates, there's a scene where she is talking about her life, and the camera is like facing right towards, like, kind of like how this is. During the scene, she is looking anywhere except the camera, because I think it's like a POV shot of, what's his name? Shigaru? We'll go with Shigaharu. You're in his perspective, and she is looking anywhere except you. And then the camera cuts to her perspective, and he's looking straight at the camera as if he's making eye contact. I really like how there's that little bit of deception there. That was good. I really enjoyed that. And then obviously there's the phone scene where in the middle of the movie she's sitting in front of the phone and she's waiting for him to call her, and there's a bag right there, and I was like, oh, what's in the bag? Is that like her bed or something? I didn't think much of it. I was just like, oh, what's in the bag? What's in the bag? So when he finally does call her, she's asleep in the same position, and then she like gets this creepy ass smile, and then we get a bag jump scare because the bag moves. And I was like, oh, there's actually like barely any jump scares, but they were all effective. There's one specifically, it's a tongue jump scare. That was weird. There's also a moment where we see what's in the bag, and it's a mutilated person. And then she feeds him, except she's throwing up into the thing, and then you get the idea. I don't want to say because it grossed me out, but there was one thought in my head that someone probably would do that, would go for that. They'd be like, ooh. And I was like, people, man. Now, honestly, I did want to give this like half a point down because there's a dead dog in it, and we kind of see it, and I'm really sad about it. So I was going to give it a point down. And then, because that's what it always is. If I see a dead animal or dead dog, I love dogs, half a point down. I don't like that. But there is a moment where he's getting tortured, which was the most painful part of the movie, where the sun comes in and it cuts to main character waking up, and I was like, oh, is this a dream all along? Is there like a deeper meaning of being scared of love and he imagined it? And then turns out no, he wasn't dreaming. Which brings me to something that I kind of didn't like. He was having this like LSD shroom trip going through memories, and he imagines himself in Asami's apartment, and like he sees the bag, he sees the person, he sees the throw up bowl, which was disgusting. And I was thinking, how does he know this? He's never been to her apartment or anything. And then when the dream sequence happened, I was like, oh, it makes sense. This is his fear. That's what he was imagining. Nope. Turns out he wakes up and back to reality with his 1 foot, or I want to say 0.5 of a foot because the other one got cut off and she barely got through this one. I was like, okay, so how did he know then? Where did that come from? Like, there is no indication of that in the movie that he is aware of it, but it happened anyways. It kind of confused me, I'm gonna be honest. But it was really cool to have him wake up, and then the son actually dodging Asami, going upstairs, being smart, and kicking her down the stairs, killing her. And at first I thought, oh, she's not dead, but then you kind of see like her neck bone like sticking out, not like through the skin, but like her skin, you get it, it's like a broken bone. And the weird part is she like twitches, and it was disgusting. I hated the sound effects in it because the sound effects in this were really good. But yeah, the dad is like telling the son call the police and all that. He's like trying to like move because he was paralyzed from a drink, and there's like a bunch of other stuff that like happened to him that I was cringing at. Ugh. You'd have to go watch it. But then as Asami's on the floor and we see she's staring at Sigharu, she starts talking about things she said earlier, and my indication or my thought is like he died, because that is a lot of blood loss to take in for a bit, and I think he died, which is really bleak because the son in the beginning lost his mom and then he just saw his dad die. So yeah, I really think he died. This movie was really, really good, by the way. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And the ending, the last like 30 minutes, oh my god, they went full on with the body horror, which was crazy to me. But yeah, I actually thoroughly enjoyed this movie, so I gave it 4 stars. Alright, The Bay. This movie was honestly so crazy and really gnarly, honestly. Like, there are body effects in this that are insane and so disgusting, but in a good horror way. Yeah, it blew me away. This is not what I expected this movie to be. When I was younger, I saw the cover for it in like Blockbusters, Video Paradise. They're all dead now. And I was always curious about the cover. The cover looks really good. I thought it was a boat in the middle, like where the mouth area is, but turns out no, it's the tongue-eating louse or louse. I don't know how to call it, but it's that. And my god, oh my god. Honestly, I kind of would recommend this movie if you like found footage horror, like if you really like it. Because I feel like if like normal average watchers wouldn't really like it that much, but since I like found footage, it really worked out for me, because there is a lot of escalation that happens. There's a point, it's kind of a mockumentary film. I want to get that out of the way first. It's kind of a mockumentary, but there is a point, like you could pinpoint it, and it just keeps going. That was a stutter. Yeah, it just keeps going, but there's like one point, and they emphasize on that, and then the movie starts getting to where it gets to. And my god, is it a lot. I'm gonna be honest, it was a lot to take in. It's like, here's the worst right now, deal with it. And like I said, the body horror effects really helped this, because like I said, this was a gnarly ass movie. My god. I just want to say, the mayor sucks. My god, this is all his fault to keep up his public appearance. People were like, hey, so you have like a farm of chickens right by this bay, and you're like dumping tons of chicken shit into the water, you know, the ones that have like steroids and all that, chemicals in it. And that's how you find out that these things, I'm gonna call them isopods, but basically they're fish eating or tongue eating louse. But these isopods get it, and then they mutate because of it, because, you know, it has a lot of stuff in it. And there is a point where it explains to you. You see these ocean divers, they're like marine biologists. They go in, they discover they don't know what it is yet, and then it attacks them, but it goes through the girl's eye. I didn't expect that, and it was a jump scare, but holy shit, that was crazy. But yeah, the mayor fucking sucks. Like, he let it happen. when they asked him to make a decision, he's like, oh, no, it's fine. People don't know about it yet. They don't know what it is. And then in the midst of everything going bad, he's like, get me out of here. This town sucks. Everyone's dead. Whatever. The CDC actually helped a little bit, but when it came to the FBI, you guys suck. Like, I was like, no. Do something. Ah, my God. Yeah, the FBI and the mayor. Ooh. They get you really pissed off in this movie. There's these two characters that are emphasized are Alex, Stephanie, and her baby. Yeah, I heard you say, oh no, after I said the word baby. I said the same thing. Stephanie pushes Alex into the water, or he jumps in it. He's like, oh, a little bit got in my mouth. And then you realize, oh, well, he's dead. And it's not until later that you actually see him die. But it makes it better that you're going through this town. You're seeing like tons of dead bodies. That's insane. The dead bodies that are in this say a lot, because there are videos of other people and then you see their bodies. And I love that because the bodies tell a story, a little mini story that you can kind of see. And a lot of those bodies, well, not a lot, but some of those bodies you recognize from the B-roll at the very beginning of the movie of them being normal. Also, it's kind of discussing how like there's a vomit scene, like where tons of people are vomiting. It was nasty, and crazy how the past 2 days have involved vomit somehow. Technically all 3 days if you count it, but please, I don't like vomit. It's nasty. Get away. Another thing I did want to say is the best scene is the house scene when the two cops go into the house. And like you hear like distorted people because it says it's eating their tongues out. Like the isopods are eating their tongues. And like you hear like someone being tongueless trying to say, kill me, kill me, kill me. It is horrifying. Genuinely, that is the best part of it. And what happens after is the mayor and another deputy come up to the house, and one of the officers you see come out with his like rash and all that. He's like, just go, get out of here, we're all gonna die. And then he shoots one of the deputies, and then he offs himself, and I was like, what? Jeez, man. But another thing I do want to say is the way that this movie has these isopods or tongue-eating louse work is not... I could only suspend my disbelief so far, but that's not how they work. They don't eat people's tongues like they are. They don't eat through the body. That's what they were saying in the body. That's why it was so gnarly, is they're like, oh, they're eating them from the inside out, and then showing it, which was crazy. But they're eating them from the inside out. I'm like, they just suck the blood out until you're dead, man. They don't eat you. I mean, it's a good artistic liberty, but I think what makes this worse is that I have a fear of sea creatures. I can't go to aquariums. They freak me out, not because of the glass, but because of the sea creatures itself. There are some exceptions, like little fish, but we see a lot of fish, and we see a camera go inside a fish's mouth, and I hated it, and I never felt more valid for my fear more than I do after this movie. But yeah, like I said, it's a really good found footage horror movie, but if you're not really a fan of found footage, it probably won't work for you. But yeah, it worked for me in a lot of ways, so I give it 3.5 stars. Alright, Saw 2. I mean, if you saw the last video, you know that I love Saw. So this is not a surprise that it's on the list again. What are you doing, man? What's going on? Okay, cool. It's my dog. Alright, so I love this movie a lot. I remember it used to be my favorite. Like, this was the Saw that was my favorite. And thing is, that's kind of changed a little bit. So right off the bat, you know that this Saw has a lot more budget. It has a lot more going into it, especially when you consider the sets that it has, because there's 2 big sets rather than in the first movie, mainly the bathroom, couple of sound stages, and from the Dead Meat podcast, it looks like photography apartment. So it looks better, because how big is this fucking house? Like, seriously, it is huge. Like, this movie has a lot going for it, especially in the story. I love seeing Detective Matthews. I love the trap plot. The trap plot was so good. The only thing I didn't like about it was that everyone except Amanda and Daniel were pretty dumb. Like, I forgot her name, but the Razorbox girl. Like, come on, man. And then Xavier just being a dick and it's like, I'm gonna kill everyone to get my number. Like, bro, just ask. Like, just ask. Like, my God. And then Obi-Wan Kenobi going into that furnace, not looking around first, because, you know, when you look in a furnace, look around. And then pulling it and still not looking around, and then seeing that there's a valve to shut it off, only to realize it's too late. Bro, come on. But like I said, Daniel and Amanda were smart. In fact, I think Amanda wasn't even infected during the entire trap plot, because everyone was coughing up blood. Everyone was looking pretty bad except her, which makes sense when you find out that she's been working with Jigsaw at the end. I like how on a rewatch you could see like subtle mannerisms that she has for that, and I really like that. It's what makes this movie so rewatchable for me. I can't even talk, and that's just the trap plot. The cop plot is also really good. First off, there goes that dude's shins. Dude was hooting and hollering just because he broke some shins. Like, bro, suck it up. And then we have Detective I think her name's Detective Carrie, but Carrie, she's always a baddie. There's nothing that changes that. She's always a baddie. I freaking love Carrie, which makes next year's rewatch a little painful. And then the funniest part, we have emo edgelord rage baiter John Kramer, who is Jigsaw, as we saw, and I can't even lie, this dude rage baits Detective Matthews so much, and it works. It's so funny, like how much shit he talks to Detective Matthews, and then he gets beat up and he still gets the last laugh. Like, jeez, man, don't ever think you could out rage bait John Kramer, because oh boy. Now this story honestly felt a lot different than the first one, and that's because this script that we got for this wasn't originally going to be a Saw movie. Some producers got a hold of this script and they told the writer, hey, let's just make this into Saw 2, so let's change it a little bit so it's Saw-esque. And I'm not gonna lie, that's why it kind of feels different for me. It kind of tonally feels different, a little off. I mean, gotta say, the effects and traps, gore, makeup, it was really good, especially the needle pit. Like, even to this day, like, I can watch The Rack, no problem. If you don't know what that is, wait till next year when we watch Saw 3. But the needle pit is still one that I look away from. Still painful as hell to look at. My God. But yeah, the twists at the end were really good, where it was all recorded. Amanda's working with Jigsaw and took Eric Matthews to the wrong house and chained up into the bathroom that we see Adam cameo. He might be a little bit dead, but hey, we got an Adam cameo and a Gordon cameo, technically, just his name. But yeah, it was cool having that kind of twist and seeing that if Eric Matthews just waited, his son would have been fine. Because, you know, as the rage baiter says, this guy makes too many puns, man. It's so stupid. But yeah, on a rewatch, it kind of changed things for me a little bit, and yeah, I give it 3.5 stars. Alright, VHS 2. I have a lot to say about this one, so we're gonna have to go kind of quick because there are a lot of sections and I have a lot of thoughts. Before we even go into any of the sections though, I do want to say a story that happened. I was getting ready to put this movie on and I noticed that the vibe felt a little off, and I was like, is still VHS, same companies, but it felt off. And then we got into the first segment. I was like, this feels so weird. And I checked, and it was VHS viral. I don't know if that's foreshadowing for next year, but if the film continues to be like that, I'm gonna have an amazing time next year. Also, we got like someone's wang and boobs in like the first like 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Maybe even less than that. So yeah, this is how I knew I was watching the right VHS movie when I put it on. All right, the first segment is Phase 1 clinical trials. My God, this one was actually genuinely scary. I can't even lie. I really love how it shows that tech enhances the mosquito. Like I said, I love how the tech that they get in this enhances their abilities. Because if you don't know, main character gets an eye implant that's a camera, and now he can see the ghosts that are living in his house. And then later someone else comes into his house. They're like, yeah, I used to be deaf, and then I got these ear implants, and now I hear the ghosts. And she even says that. I was like, oh, there's a little girl crying in your house. I was like, my God, man, my God. But I do kind of like how it goes into the mythos of ghost hunting, which is like cameras usually catch ghosts on camera. Microphones can help you hear when there's something paranormal. So I did like that. I did like that they included that, and it made sense. My little dog right here. Hello. So I did like that. Another thing is I don't think it's supposed to be funny, but to me it is, where Clarissa's uncle shows up and she's like, I know how to get rid of him. We gonna have sex to do that though. I was like, okay. And then he went away. So it turns out it was right. She was right. And that is such a weird way to get rid of a ghost. Not even the Ghostbusters could come up with that. But another thing I did really like is that they had a lot of smart choices. Like one of the characters went into the bathroom to hide from the ghosts. As soon as things got bad, he's like, I'm gonna cut this eye out so I don't have to see him. And he does. And then it's also what kills him at the end. So that sucked. But I really liked this section. It was genuinely scary and had good jump scares in it. A ride in the park was really fun. Like, first off, if you know me, I love zombies, and I saw them, and it was really fun. I really liked this one. But dude needs to change his music taste, because he was listening to, like, I don't know, EDM music. I love how fast the infection actually is in this, because the guy has a GoPro on, and we see him like die and lay down for like, I want to say like a minute, maybe a minute and a half, and then he's reanimated and he starts attacking these people that naturally came over to him. So it was nice showing how this infection spread, and he attacks them, and you actually see him like transform. Now towards the end there's a cut to a birthday party, and my first thought as soon as that happened was, oh God. And yeah, shit hits the fan. I mean, it's VHS, it's zombies. What'd you expect? No kids die though, which is surprising, especially knowing what one of these sections does later. But yeah, it was a lot. It got really sad at the end. I'm not gonna lie. At the very end, it did get really sad, because his girlfriend or wife calls him and is like, oh, you butt dialed me. Oh my God, I can't wait till you get home. I love you. So then he kind of gains his humanity back a little bit, and he grabs a shotgun and shoots himself as a zombie. Yeah, I don't know. That was really sad to me. Ooh. Dude, Safe Haven? My God. Like, here's the thing. I can handle a lot of horror movies, more than my family can. Even this was like really intense for me. I can't even lie. This was the longest section. It was the best in the entire movie. I would say best in the entire series, because I've only seen the first two, and it actually felt like a movie, like it could be a full-length movie. The pacing was great. The cult, if you remember how much I loved Midsummer, makes sense why this one's the best. But the cult was so scary at first. The classrooms, and then when they were like going to Lena, and then the necklace. I was like, come on, man. What the fuck? They had pregnancy drama too, which actually ties into the end of this. Like, everything worked so well. It was by far the goriest one in the entire movie, but it was like a lot to take in a good way. It was so good. I really like this. The cult leader, like with the box cutter, insane. And then at the very end, well, not at the very end, but near the end, when people are starting to sewer slide, and there's the room full of people with oh my god, it was a lot. But that's not even the end of it. The end of it, the cult leader explodes, which is really fucking funny for some reason. And then Lena, being pregnant from a different person on the crew, has something in her stomach, and it shoots out through her, and then fucking Satan pops out, or what looks like Satan and a Minotaur. Either way, it was crazy to see. And then the dude almost made it out, and the sad part is he didn't, because that Minotaur / Satan looking creature rams the car, and as he's looking out, the creature says, "Papa," and it makes sense when knowing that guy is the one that got Lena pregnant. And it was just fucking crazy, man. It was by far the best segment. It was the most intense and low-key scariest. In every way, that was amazing and phenomenal. Summer Party Abduction is the weakest one, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It is really good still, especially knowing that it got made into a full-length film, just like Amateur Night did. But this one's called Kids vs. Aliens. I don't know how that one did. I'd have to look at it later. But I do know that this one wasn't really fleshed out. It didn't really feel fleshed out. It had aliens that looked cheap. At least their body did. But the mask that these actors wore, like the alien faces, those actually did look pretty scary. I can't even lie. The sleeping bag section was good, knowing that you don't see anything but hear it, and then you see water floating up through the sleeping bag. But here's the thing, though. This movie has a dog in it, and I said, fuck, and you know why. After this section, because let me tell you, the dog dies, and it was so sad. I'm not even joking. This is probably the saddest dog death in horror. I need to hug my dog, man. Hold on. I feel better. But the dog dies, and it is so sad. And if you know my rule, it did half a point down. Yeah, because it is really sad and really traumatizing. that one got me down a little bit. Tape 49, the wraparound one. Really good. Hey, girl. Really, really good. It improves what the other wraparound tape was, and it actually has a connection to it, and it was good. I really liked the characters. One of them's a little bit of a douchebag, but that's fine. But Aisha was good. I really liked her, and I said, oh, I hope nothing happens to her. But then I remembered I'm watching VHS, and something happened to her. But yeah, the effects in this were good. I liked this wraparound tape. So yeah, this movie was actually really good. It did so many things better than the original, and I was going to give it 5 stars because of how much I liked it. But then Tank died, and now it's 4.5 stars. Alright, The Ritual. I know about this movie. I heard about it from my friend Clay. But before that, I remember when I first found out about this movie I was in a cabin with a bunch of my friends in high school, and I was sleeping on the floor just because I passed out. And I remember waking up to a scream, and I'm going to talk about that scream later, but it was probably the most horrifying thing to ever wake up to. Yeah. So right off the bat, we got like good nature shots, genuinely really good nature shots. I loved it. Like, they went so hard on those shots more than anything else, and I genuinely loved it. Like the opening shot where, well, first off, opening scene happens. We see his friend die. I forgot his name. Damn. And then immediately cuts to that it was a dream, and he wakes up and we're in the hike, telling us it's 6 months later. It's dropping us right in there. Followed by a beautiful nature shot from that. I love the nature shots in this. The only thing about nature that I didn't like was that it's a creepy ass forest, man. It looks so weird. And then there's spiky trees. For some reason, there's no leaves on these trees, so they just look spiky. I think they're pine trees, but I don't know. I'm like, all I just thought was, ooh, spiky tree. These characters are all really good. I loved every one of these characters, especially Hutch. But Dom, though, Dom was such an asshole, dude. Oh my God. Like, I get you're mourning your friend, but that was just messed up. I started hating him because it's like, oh, my leg. And then, oh, I'm gonna go wherever I want. Even though, Hutch, hey, by the way, you might know where you're going because you got the compass and all, but I'm gonna go my way. Idiot. He's the reason why everyone is dead. So it was actually Hutch's death that I woke up to. He has one death. Yes, he has one death, so that's correct. He has one scream that I was like, oh, that's funny. And then the second one, I was like, ah! Oh, fuck. It was really scary to wake up to at the time. And then we get the reveal that they're cultists in this movie. Cultists, man, they're so scary. I think I'm just afraid of cults. I think cult horror is what gets me, man. Jesus Christ. This movie also like had really good sets. I'm not even gonna lie, like they had really good sets that feel like they were practical. Like they blend the dream that Luke has of the convenience store with the forest at the very end and in one of the dreams, and it looked so good. Another thing that they also did was the creature. The creature looked amazing. Like, my God, there was a fake out, and then we actually see the creatures because of the eyes. It looked good, CG or practical. It looked amazing, and it's scarier knowing that that's Loki's son, I think, in Offspring. But Loki, who's the mom, bro? I just want to talk, because what the fuck is that? But yeah, Dom was also right. For some reason, he got prophecy saying, yeah, we're all going to die here, Luke. You're going to make it out. Which, by the way, I feel so bad for Luke. He saw every single one of his friends die. Like, all of them. Luke's seen it all. Beginning friend, Hutch, Phil, Dom. Like, dude needs therapy for life. But yeah, another thing is that this was not a memorable movie to me. A lot of things I felt like were forgettable. The only good thing about this movie is the atmosphere, the sets, the creatures, and the acting. I really liked those, but the story wasn't really sticking out to me. It just, I don't know. It didn't really touch me or stick out to me in a way. I do like the idea of facing inner demons, as my friend said, so there's that to look out. But yeah, writing and story wasn't really for me, I guess, which really sucks because this movie is really good. But yeah, I give it 3 stars. Scream 2 is honestly such a good movie. Like, it improves a lot from the original. I honestly prefer Scream 2 over Scream 1, but that's just me. Scream 2 just had a good opening. I think it's one of my favorites in the entire series in terms of, you know, opening kills and all that. Like, first off, I just want to say, like, the theater etiquette in that is fucking insane. I guess that's what theater workers saw when they heard the chicken jockey thing in theaters for the first time.
Chicken jockey!
But what I really like about this is that it makes these characters that are going to die because they're the opening kill, you like them. They had a lot of personality and naturality to them, and it's really good because I was like, oh, man, I know they're going to die. It just kind of sucks that they are, man. I really like these characters, and the killers are pretty smart with it. Like, luring one in, being all, and then stabbing him, which, by the way, that's a hell of a stab, dude. To go through the bathroom stall like that, Jesus Christ. It also has that iconic ghost face urinal, which is really funny, and I still laugh at that to this day, even though I've seen this movie like so many times. But yeah, I love seeing Sydney all the time. She is like one of my favorite horror protagonists, so it was great seeing her again. And then I didn't realize that Buffy's actress was in here, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She got slayed in this movie. And then we get the Gale slap, which was really fun. I like that tradition of Sydney versus Gale, or in other terms of the sequels, whoever they are versus Gale. I forget their names. I'm sorry. I swear I've seen Scream 5. Maybe. I just want to say that I like need a mock-up of Stab, because just the scenes that they gave us of the in-universe movie adaptation, which is a run on the first Scream movie, was so funny. So every time that scene comes on, I always start laughing because of how bad it is. I love it. I need a physical copy of Stab right now. Put it on my shelf. Now let's get into something that I love. Dewey, he's in this movie and he's always getting stabbed, but he always comes back. I really hope nothing happens to him. Nah, they wouldn't do that. They don't have the balls. But no, let's get into the kill that, one, when on a first watch, shocked me, and two, one that still hurts to this day, and I'm talking about Hallie. That sucks. Okay, no, but actually I'm talking about Randy. That one hits hard, dude. I love Randy. He is the best. He is the film nerd that I aspire to be, and seeing him die always sucks. Especially in Gale's van, because he talked shit about Billy Loomis, even though he was in his right to do that. I also feel bad for Derek. Derek was a genuine good guy to Sydney, even though the trauma that she's had with, you know, Billy Loomis. Derek's a good guy, and she kind of like tried to stay by him as much as she could until it was like unbearable, because she has PTSD in this movie, which, thank God, I would expect a character to go through something like that to have PTSD. And we see that in the theater. I really like that. That was great. I love when movies and video games do that. But when it becomes unbearable, she like pushes him away and then comes back to him, and then he dies. And I was really sad because I was like, Sydney has a decent guy and he dies. Now, the twist of the killers in it is really good. The Mrs. Loomis one is really good. I liked that. Every time, it's such like an unexpected thing that you wouldn't even expect that that's Billy's mother, and it's good. It does a reverse Friday the 13th, and I think it works really well in terms of this story. I think it works extremely well. But you know what doesn't work well? Mickey. Because halfway through this movie, where did he go? He like completely drops out of this movie, and I forget about him to the point where on my first watch, I was like, who are you? Like my first watch, I didn't know that was Mickey, because he was, one, such a nothing character that didn't stand out, and two, drops out halfway through the movie and is never seen again until it's revealed that he's the killer. I don't like that, and it kind of sucks, but it makes up for Mrs. Loomis being the other killer. I'd say that does make up for it a little bit, especially because he's like, I'm gonna go to trial. And Miss Loomis is like, man, that's such bullshit. This shit was kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie. Especially when he comes back and Gale and Sydney just light him up. Another thing is, I really like Cotton in this story. I like that the guy that Sydney sent to prison is here, and he actually kind of seems like a genuine good guy, rather than, oh, I hate you for prison. He's like, hey, I forgive you. Cotton's a W, man. I really like Cotton. I really hope nothing bad happens to him in this series. But yeah, I love Scream 2. It is just as good, if not better, than Scream 1. And yeah, I give it 4 stars. Alright, Rec 2. If you remember, that is one of my favorites from last year. So, that being said, it wasn't a surprise that this sequel ended up on the list. So, did this live up to the first movie? No. I'll go through the movie first, but there are things I liked and things I really didn't like. So first off, we see these SWAT guys. It's the end of the very first movie, and at first, I'm thinking, oh, we're gonna get their perspective. This is gonna be great. I like this. They all look like Hunk from Resident Evil 2, and it gave me, when it was that, it gave me the vibes of Resident Evil, and I really liked that. I was like, oh, this is a Resident Evil type of movie, man, and I was getting really hyped about it. God damn it. Like, first off, we have a main camera guy. His name is... And then everyone has a helmet cam that also helps. And it really adds to it because we see these characters get split up for a bit, and then we see their camera, and it goes full screen with them so we can see what's going on with them. And it works really well, particularly in a scene where I think Lara gets split up. One of them gets split up, and they get lost in a bathroom. More mosquito. One of them gets lost in the bathroom, and he has no way out, so he kind of, you get it. But it was really good. I liked when they did that, and it honestly was scarier like that. It was scarier to have the multicams and have the complex because it added to it, and I really liked that. I really liked how they kept the atmosphere, continuity, and just the horror in general in that. I really liked that part a lot. I wish the whole movie was like that because, like I said, it is a Resident Evil type of movie, and a good one too. I also really like that the infected, instead of traditional jump scares where they pop out of the corner, you just hear their footsteps and them running towards you. That's good. I really liked how much they utilized that in this. Also, the old woman is still there even though she got shot like what, 12 times? How the f does she not die? Now let's get into what I don't like about this movie, because this really brought it down for me, which sucks. Because like I said, I love Wreck, the first one. And the second one has a B storyline, and it's not good at all. I don't like the teenagers just messing around and going through the apartment. It wasn't a good storyline, especially since it's weirdly paced. Like the camera goes on, camera goes back on, and they're just going through it, and I didn't like it, like, at all. It really kind of brought it down for me. There's another side of this story that brought it down for me, but this one, I just didn't like it. The only good part of it was the accidental shooting.
Huh?
Come on, man. It was kind of funny, but at the same time, I was like, man, you suck. Now, let's get into the thing that also really brought down this movie for me. The first one, if you remember, is an infection, and it's pretty grounded, and it has something to do with the church and experimentation and possession. Now, I really liked how grounded that it was a disease was. So, imagine my surprise when they go more supernatural with it. Yeah, it's literally now possession. Everyone that's infected is possessed by Tristiana or something like that. The stick figure, that one. I hate that. They had a good thing going in the first one with just regular infected people, and then they kind of ruined it by making it supernatural possession thing like that. I hated that. I did not like that. It felt like I was watching a different franchise, honestly, which really sucks because, like I said, I loved the first Wreck. One cool thing is that they did have the light going on and off and utilizing night vision with the door. I liked that. I think it could have worked like that, even though that's like the little bit of supernatural that I like, you know. So yeah, that is something I really didn't like about the story, and it's really disappointing that it happened. Now, the final thing I did want to talk about is Angela herself. She came back. I was really happy that she came back. I love Angela Vidal, and I'm gonna be honest, I was really happy to see her in this film and kick ass. And then turns out she got possessed as well, infected. I don't know, something happens to her. I'm not gonna show it, but a worm from, think of bird feeding, and then she's possessed now. Don't know how I feel about that. I'm really sad. I hope she's still alive, which I think she is, because I did see the poster for Rec 4, and it has Angela front and center. The SWAT storyline was really good, and honestly, if it was more of just that, then I would have liked it a lot more. Yeah, I give it 2.5 stars. Alright, so Lake Mungo was a film that I was looking forward to the most on this list, but it was also the one I was dreading the most because I heard it was scary. And it was pretty accurate, yeah. This movie goes through so many twists. By the way, there are a ton of them. But before we even get into that, it has such a psychological effect on you, especially when you're first watching it. It worked so well for me because I didn't know what to expect. I went into this movie knowing nothing except about a scene later, which convinced me and still jump scared me, by the way. I cannot believe the emotions and scares I felt in the beginning of this movie. It was so good. It was like paranormal, but at the same time, I felt like something was watching me the entire time. It kind of had a psychological effect because I watched this in my living room, by the way. And the way that our living room is set up, the couch is like, it's the couch and then the kitchen. So I have all that space behind me, and at points I was like tensing up a little bit. The story of this was so good. The fact that, our daughter drowned, but we're hearing paranormal things now. Let's document it. And I really like the idea of it being a mockumentary. It worked in its favor. I thought it was found footage, and technically it is, but in a non-traditional sense, and it really worked in its favor for that. And that being said, this being a mockumentary film, the acting actually was really good. Like, it actually did feel like a real documentary. They acted their asses off, and it worked out so good. I enjoyed it. I felt everything as if it was real and it happened. Like, oh my god. I can't even, like, words can't describe just how, like, good and authentic it felt. I just didn't expect it. This whole movie, I didn't expect any of that at all. So let's talk about some of the twists. Obviously, in the beginning, I said it was very paranormal, very scary to me. Turns out, the paranormal stuff that was happening in there was the brother, out of grief. And, I could see where he's coming from. And it was really sad. It gave an ounce of realism. And I really like that addition in there, because it throws you up. You're like, oh, it's not paranormal. And it worked out really well. I like that twist. The other twist, very jarring, was the tape that Alice had. Ooh boy, it added to the story. And yeah, my god, I feel so bad for Alice after this, bro. Holy shit. But yeah, these twists felt real. Like, they had a sense of realism in there, and it threw you off of, oh, it isn't paranormal, oh, it's really sad. It, like I said, throws you off. But then there's another twist, that Alice buried her phone and her belongings. So they go to pick it up, and turns out, paranormal stuff actually does happen. Alice saw her dead body walking towards her. It was like a jump. It was still got to me, because how can it not? But my god, it was terrifying. Like, Alice got that omen or warning that she was gonna die and saw her dead body. Like, how do you recover from that? It's so scary. And then I was watching someone react to it, and there are things in there that I didn't catch the first time, such as when the dad was like, she was riding and then she became aware of me and came at me and said, get out. That happened, but in a different type of way. It kind of has that paranormal memory that people say haunts there. Like, whenever there's a haunted house, sometimes you'll hear a conversation as if the ghost is reenacting some of the memories that they have. And that's exactly what happened. And it seems like the mother and Alice have some paranormal gift, because when they were meeting with the psychic, they were saying things that happened to the other. Like, Alice stood over her parents' bed, but in the diary, she said she had a dream that she was doing so. And then at the very end, Alice was saying, like, I see my mom, she's leaving the room, and she's gone. Showing that it ties into the very end of the movie where they're leaving. The mom's in Alice's room looking around, and then she leaves for good. And now the final twist I do want to talk about that was that everything was paranormal the entire time. Everything that the brother doctored was real, and Alice was in fact there. Her ghost was there. There was a happy birthday video that she was in the corner of, and turns out I went back to those scenes to see if I could see her there. And she was. I really like how the end of the movie pointed that out to you, because you would have missed it if they didn't. Yeah, more than anything, I went into this movie thinking it was going to be really, really scary. I was going to have nightmares and see Alice's face. But turns out I left really, really sad. Honestly, this is a really sad movie, but it works so well for horror too, because there are genuine scary moments. And yeah, it really worked well for me. So for the first time on this list, I am happy to say this is 5 stars. So finally we get to the Jordan Peele section on this list, because if you didn't watch the last video, I'll tell you, Jordan Peele is my favorite horror writer and director. He's only had 3 movies so far, but either way, every movie that he's put out, that's written by him has been amazing and my absolute favorite. So it wasn't a surprise that Us is on this list. Now, comparing Us to Get Out and Nope is a bit unfair because this is kind of the weakest story. I say weakest in quotations because it's still a really, really good movie. It's more traditional. It's more jokey and quippy, but that doesn't ruin the story of the movie because let me tell you, the story of this is amazing and I vibe with the atmosphere that it puts out. Like I say, the jokes are a lot, yet Gabe is my favorite character when he's the one making the most jokes. He's just genuinely funny. And yeah, a lot of stuff lands whenever he's making it, and I really enjoyed his character the most. And that's another thing I'm really happy that this movie didn't do, is that they didn't kill any of the main family members, which it would have been a darker story if it did, but I'm really happy it didn't because I really liked all of the family, and they worked really well for the story, especially Addie, which we'll get into later. The fireplace scene is honestly one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie. Just Red telling the story of Abraham and all that. It was good. It was such a good atmosphere. And well, first off, let me say something that's the big elephant in the room. The acting in this, oh my god, dude. Like, having these people play two different characters, like very different characters, was so good. It really sells it. They played them extremely well, extremely different than what the other character was, even though they're clones. Like, that takes some real dedicated kind of acting, and I loved it. I loved their acting. It's a hard thing to do, I'm pretty sure, but wow. One of my favorite parts was when Kitty and the other family died, because when that happens, you kind of realize this is not an isolated incident and that this is happening nationwide. I don't want to say worldwide because in the beginning, they said all over the United States, but nowhere else. Plus, Addie says to go to Mexico, which makes sense because this is a nationwide isolated thing. But it's nice knowing that it wasn't just that family that was getting affected. It was every single person, especially when they turn on the news. That was good, and I really like that. Another thing I did want to talk about is something I'm sure people have pointed out, was that Addie was getting more and more red throughout the movie, to the point where at the end she was pretty red from blood, which signifies the twist later. But then I also noticed that in the beginning she's wearing white, the complete like opposite and clean version of what the tethered wear, which is red. And I really like that. Plus they're wearing red jumpsuits because of the Hands Across America thing, because they were cut out and that's the shirt that happened. So yeah, I really like that. The deeper meaning, if you want to look at it, is classism and how that affects, like, they have people living above them, living their best lives, and then there are people living beneath them, struggling, barely having anything. That's mostly demonstrated in the flashback scene when we see everything that's happening on the carnival, people actually having fun, compared to downstairs where they're eating rabbit and pretending to go on rides because they can't go up. I really like that symbolism because it's not one people really catch. It's something you kind of have to think about deeply, and I did, and it was really cool figuring out what that deeper meaning is. But yeah, let's get to the twist where Addie was actually the tethered person all along. In the beginning, we see Addie turn around and we assume something happened, and she says, "I saw myself and I ran." When turns out, real Addie saw the tethered Addie. Tethered Addie choked her, dragged her to the tethered people, and the main character we've been following is the tethered one, which, really good twist. I know I kind of complicated it by saying it like that, but it's a really good twist that adds to the story. On rewatch, you see these mannerisms. You see why she's so scared to go to the Santa Cruz beach, or yeah, it's Santa Cruz. Why she's so scared to go there, and then she knows what's happening, and she's saying, we gotta go. Let's go to Mexico, because that's not where the subway systems are. It's really clever when you see it on a rewatch, because all these things you think are just her being smart is her just being knowledgeable about everything because she knows about it. And that's another thing. All these family members felt smart. Like, they really did, in terms of, you know, Jason walking backwards because their soul mimics each other, which I really like. And then Zora just wasting no time to killing the twins. That was really good. It shows that they have fight and they are really smart. And that's another thing. At the very end, I'm pretty sure Jason finds out that Addie is the tethered one. And instead of telling everyone, he looks at her, puts the mask on, and it's very ambiguous, which is amazing. I can say he knows, but he puts the mask on to hide that he knows, which I think he's gonna take to his grave, which, yeah, really good. So yeah, I really love this. Jordan Peele will always be my favorite director, and once again, I enjoyed this movie like no other. So yeah, 4.5 stars. Yeah, I'm not letting you in. What do you think this is? All right, so Talk to Me was a movie that I didn't expect to be this good. I'm going to be honest. When it came out 2 years ago, I heard it was a good movie. Like, a lot of people liked it. I didn't watch it until now, and I don't even know. It's so good that words can't describe how I feel about it, because it was honestly an amazing movie. So the intro already caught me off guard and hooked me in, I'm gonna be honest, because we see Cole going to go get his brother Duckett, and then once he gets Duckett, he stabs him. Duckett stabs Cole, and then it's just insane that happened, and it instantly hooked me. I didn't expect any of that at the beginning. I also didn't expect them to be Australian, but that's just me. So let's get into the first hand scene with Mia. That was way different than I thought. So I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really know what Talk to Me was. I only knew about the hand, and I was like, oh, scary. My God. Low-key, I kind of want to put the hand like on the bookshelf right here. That would be so cool. But you know, the hand's a bit expensive. Maybe one day. But yeah, the first hand scene was good. It caught me off guard when we saw the ghosts, and then we saw it slowly taking over Mia, which, gonna be honest, this goes to something I want to talk about later, but it kind of looked like she was on drugs when she first touched the hand and started like experiencing the paranormalness, and it looked cool. It was an amazing ride, especially when she was talking to Riley, telling him to run, and then the door opening and closing. That was good. So then that brings me to the other hand scene with Daniel when he went in, and we saw it through Mia's perspective. Like, it's like you're actually sitting on the couch experiencing what he's seeing. But it's like so good to have that like non-personal scene like that to show that, oh, so this is what it looked like. Like, that's good. I really liked how they showed that direction. Another thing is, halfway through the movie, Mia became an unreliable narrator or storyteller, because we start seeing things and they aren't really happening. First off, when Daniel's sleeping at Mia's house and Mia sees the ghost doing something with Daniel's toes. It's so gross. I can't even tell you. It was disgusting. And then Mia sees the ghost doing it, but then we cut to Daniel's perspective and we see that it's Mia doing it, but she's possessed. Like, you could clearly see it in her eyes. She's possessed. And it becomes unreliable because then Mia starts seeing spirits, which, by the way, hearing that's what Duckett did also has another thing I want to talk about later, which is really good. And then having Mia see the spirits, and then the spirits telling her, that's not your dad, you gotta kill him. And then it turns out to be Max, and he does die because Mia, well, he doesn't die. I don't think he dies. He does get stabbed because of Mia, because the ghosts manipulate her, so you kind of like, you start not to trust what you see because you're pretty much seeing it through her perspective. It's pretty obvious, especially when we see the little girl letting Mia in and then seeing how all the other spirits are. It's insane, and it really shows that none of these spirits are really good. Maybe a few, which we'll see later. I think the little girl is one of the few good spirits. I really liked how we couldn't trust what we saw towards the end and middle. Another thing that was pretty predictable but I still liked about it was the fact that towards the end of the movie, things were escalating, things were happening, and honestly, I was telling myself, I don't see Mia surviving this at all. And I was right. The moment I realized that she was rolling Riley down to the cars and she stopped, I was like, yep, Mia's dead. Mia's gonna die. And that's exactly what happened. And it was good. That was such a good sequence because if you remember, if you've seen the movie, she says, I've been having these dreams where like I can't see myself in the mirror. Well, those dreams came true because at the end of the movie when she's dead in the hospital and seeing Riley got better. I like how that helped Riley get better. And then the lights are going out and she's in darkness until someone turns on a candle and someone reaches their hand out. And Mia takes it, and then you realize, yeah, she's dead, but she is now a part of the game. She is one of those souls in limbo. That is how you end a movie. That is an amazing ending. Like I said, I didn't see Mia surviving this, But this is still the ending that I didn't expect, and I really did like that she became part of the cycle. And speaking of cycles, let's get back to what I said about Duckett. So in the beginning, we see that Duckett is the one dealing with these spirits. We hear from Cole that he started seeing spirits, and then he stabbed himself. That cycle kind of continued with Mia, because that's exactly what happened to Mia by the end, which kind of leaves to say that Cole is one of those spirits in limbo. I don't know if we were to see him in, not Cole, Duckett. And then we see the same thing happen to Mia. We see Mia slowly progress, and when she started seeing spirits, things started happening. She started going more and more in her head, and then she ended herself. So I like how this is showing that a cycle is starting and continuing, that it's just a matter of time until the next person gets lost in limbo, which also begs the question, are all these souls and ghosts that they saw, were they a part of the game as well? Because like I said, at the very end, we see Mia become a part of it. She takes that hand, and she becomes part of the game for the people in Greece. And I really like that, because there's another allegory which I kind of like felt after that first scene, was it kind of feels like a drug allegory. Because if you think about it, Mia tries it for the first time, she gets hooked on it, and she keeps going and going until she becomes someone she doesn't know. She starts hurting the people close to her. It starts having consequences like that until she ended up dead. There is a very strong drug and drug addiction allegory in there that honestly is really good, and something that really kind of hits hard. It really hits hard, and it's just insane how well they handled that, because it's like in your face but not in your face, if you know what I'm talking about. I don't know if that's confusing or not, but it's a really good allegory, and I really didn't expect that. But yeah, this movie was fucking amazing. I'm gonna be honest, this movie was amazing, and if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you do, because I give this 5 stars. Okay, so this movie actually surprised me. I'm not gonna lie, because when I first watched this movie back like 8-7 years ago, I did not like it. I found it the weakest. It was the one I rewatched the least, because for some reason I just didn't vibe with it. Boy, oh boy, has that changed now. I actually really like this movie. It's not good. I mean, I'll just get that all the way now. It's not good, but it is so bad that it is. This is one of the weaker ones, but it still works. I think the reason why this one doesn't work as well as the other ones do is because this one is not written by Wes Craven, which that's a surprise. I'm very surprised by that, but at the same time, you can kind of see why. Well, first off, I want to talk about Freddy himself. Freddy in this one is not funny. He doesn't really make jokes, but he is like more villain, like he's more angry, more evil and aggressive, you know, as killers are. And you could definitely tell this is definitely written by someone else, because this Freddy does not feel like the traditional Freddy. In fact, I would say it's more in line with the that guy. Another case of this movie being so bad that is good is the bird scene. I'm gonna be honest, well, it was kind of sad. The bird ate the other bird, and that was sad. But the bird starts attacking people, and even the dad. It's so funny. The dad gets a little scratch, and then he has Band-Aid on for the rest of the movie, which I kind of found hilarious. But then after like attacking them for a solid minute or two, it just bursts into flames. It just bursts into flames, and it's sad, but it's also the funniest thing ever, because it's so random. And then to make it worse, the dad's like, "You did this. You put a cherry bomb. I know it. I know you did it. Trust me. I know it's you." When Jesse's just like staring, he's like, "Huh?" That was really funny. I really like that. Like I said, yeah, this movie is so bad that it's good, and I did like it. Another scene that really stood out to me was the pool massacre scene. That scene's good. It really shows how evil Freddy is. Plus this line,
Help yourself, fucker!
And the "You're all my children now" line is really good. This is the meanest Freddy we've seen in a while, other than the other one. And I liked it. I vibed with it. Even though it's not traditional Freddy, I did like how dark this one was. I think the concept is cool of Freddy using Jesse as like a body so he can be out in the real world. And I love how that happens, because there is some pretty good body horror in this when he kills Grady. By the way, that's another thing. Grady was a bro. I remember as a kid, I was like, oh, he's a bully kid. He sucks. Me. And then I watched this and I was like, oh, okay, Brady's just cool. I actually really like, oh, not Brady. Grady, sorry. Grady is like really cool. And he was one of my favorite characters in this. But yeah, like I said, this was like kind of the weaker, not Friday the 13th. That's tomorrow. This is one of the weaker Nightmare on Elm Street movies, but it's still really good. And I did enjoy it. So yeah, I give it 3 stars. This shirt looks familiar. Anyways, Friday the 13th Part 2 was a movie that I thought was going to be really good. I was dead wrong. I'm going to be honest. I do not like this movie. I didn't like it at all. I was so bored while watching it. I have a lot of problems with this movie, and I probably don't have a lot to say because I just don't like it. And it really sucked because I liked Friday the 13th Part 1. I liked it. I might have given it a low rating, but I still liked it, especially compared to this. The characters are nothing. I didn't care for any of the characters except for one. His name's Mark, and we will come back to him later, trust me. But yeah, it's just a boring vibe. I didn't like it, even when it's like, hey, so this is like Camp Blood or Camp Crystal Lake. They call it Camp Blood for some reason. Like, yeah, that camp's over there. We're something else though. Yeah, we're something completely different. The kills are great. I'll say this. The kills are great. I love the kills. That is the only one of the few good parts about this movie. But other than that, it just wasn't good. Like, to the point where when Jason shows up, because he's gone for most of the movie, when he shows up, it doesn't feel rewarding. I was like, all right, okay, cool, let's go, come on. I just didn't have fun with this movie. I wasn't vibing with it, especially since there's 6.5 minutes of pure flashback in the first 6.5 minutes of this movie. Like, what the hell is that about, man? What? It's just not a good movie to me. And I feel bad for people that did like it. Like I said, the kills are good. They're better than the first movie in this, kind of. I don't know. It was frustrating because I really wanted to like it, but I didn't. It wasn't fun. It was just boring. It wasn't so bad that it's good like yesterday's movie, but it was just bad. But let's get into what I did like. What I did like was Mark's death. The only reason why I know him by name is because he's the wheelchair guy. And if you don't know how that goes, it goes a little something like this. I could not stop laughing for a while, so there's that. But yeah, that was a good death. Like I said, all the deaths are good. But this one was the one that made me laugh the absolute most, because those stairs come out of nowhere and he's just going. And he's still in the chair, which is so funny to me. Another thing that I did actually really like was Ginny's train of thought at the very end when we see the Pamela Voorhees shrine. That was a good set piece. And then she used it to her advantage to kill Jason. That was good. This character is smart. I like this character. They're the only ones who didn't take their clothes off. But I didn't like it. If you like it, that's cool. I could see how you could. I just couldn't vibe with it. It wasn't my type of story, type of movie. This is going to be really brutal, and I'm really sorry if you like this movie, but I give it 1 star. Alright, so It Follows, honestly, was really good. I needed that, especially after yesterday's movie. So right off the bat, I just want to say the score of this movie was like amazing. Like, I really enjoyed the music in this movie, especially when at parts some of the music made it feel like it was dreamlike and full of wonder and all that. And I really enjoyed that because at no point was I like, oh, that doesn't fit, or like didn't notice it in a bad way. Like, I noticed it was there in a good way and it worked out so good. And I just want to say, like, that is like one of the best movie soundtracks I've ever heard before. So I might actually give it a listen after this. Now, some things about this movie that I really, really liked is, well, for the first one that I loved, is the fact that this plays on paranoia a lot. And what I mean by this is you see people walking in the background, but you always question if they're real or not. And sometimes the character will be like, are they real? And most of the time the other characters will be like, yeah, they're real. But other times they're not. And we see that at the beginning. And I really like that theater scene. It's like, do you see the girl in the red dress? And she's like, no. And then he gets all scared. And then that's when he decides to pass it to her. What an insane way to like pass ghosts onto people, which can be a metaphor for STDs, which I do recognize that, and like death. I do recognize that metaphor and I really like it. But I think what's crazier is the fact that the person who gives it to Jay is Kevin from Fred's neighbor, who's a bully. Yeah, I was like, oh, he looks familiar. Looked him up, and yeah, he's Kevin from Fred, which is insane. I died laughing, even though I shouldn't have, because it was the part where Greg dies. So I wanted to look up this ghost or entity that was attacking Jay and Greg and all them, because it sounded familiar. A ghost that would seduce people and then most likely kill them. So I looked it up, and it's a succubus. Of course, I've heard that name before, and now it makes sense. I think that's what the entity is supposed to be. I think it's a succubus because that's the only way it transfers. But like what is it? I don't want to say clingy succubus, but like a disease succubus, one of those. Either way, it makes more sense when you watch the movie. And I really do like how her friends, except Greg, but he's dead, listen to her when it's like, there's something following me, and they doubt it at first until they see her, like, she's like, oh, she thinks that it's real. So they're like, okay, let's take care of you. And then the beach scene happens where someone throws a chair at the entity. And this is also what I really like. Someone throws a chair at the entity and it bounces off. It breaks the chair and then it throws him. Yes, like that. And it was really funny. I'm sorry. But I just love that it's there. Like, you can physically hit it. You can shoot it. You can do anything to it. In fact, they throw a sheet over it so it looks like a ghost. That was really cool, actually. Rather than, you have means to, like, temporarily stop it. It's so good. I loved that you can interact with it and hit it. That is such a good touch to this entity, this succubus, that I really enjoyed. And to add on to, like, you can fight it, is the pool scene at the very end when they're trying to fight this entity or succubus, where they get in the pool. That's the part where they throw the sheet over it so they can see it, and they shoot it and it falls in. That was a good fight because the way that it starts is that Jay is pointing at it, but we as the audience don't see it. We're seeing it from the perspective of her friends. Nice switch up. I really liked that. It really hammers in that desperate need for it to go away. I loved it. And then let's talk about the ending. The ending is also really good and really ambiguous, and I love it. So Jay passes it on to one of the friends, and then the friend is like driving by, and we see him drive by prostitutes, and they stare at him, but he drives by. But you wonder, did he get one to pass it, or did he just reject it and is carrying it on himself? And this is also reinforced at the very, very end. Like, I'm talking about last like 1 minute, and we see Jay and their friend walking, and then you see someone walking behind them, but at the same time you don't know if that's real or not. And it really plays on that a lot during this movie, which I love. And that's how it ends. You don't know. And I hear there's another one coming out. I'm gonna need that movie because this was really good. I really liked it. So yeah, I give it 4 stars. Alright, As Above, So Below was a movie that I have heard before because of the uniqueness of where it takes place, which, if you don't know, is the Paris catacombs. And I gotta say, banger movie. I loved it. I remember when it came out, it wasn't perceived well. A lot of people did not like it. Honestly, I don't know what they were on. They probably crack, but I've heard nothing but good things recently. And honestly, after watching this movie, I think the hate that it got was pretty undeserved. This is a really good movie that honestly you should give a chance. If you haven't seen it yet, I would recommend this movie very highly, in the matter of fact. When this movie first starts, it hits the ground running. We are already going through these tunnels that are in either Iran or Iraq, one of those. And it was kind of cool, I'm not gonna lie. It really sets up how this movie is, and it doesn't let up. So it like hits you right at the beginning, and then it kind of stops to set up for what's going to happen. And once they enter the tunnel, before they get into the cave, that's when things go, and they do not stop until the end of the movie. So I really like that. I really liked how as soon as there's a very clearly point of no return, that's when things will go and they don't stop. I love when movies do that. Another thing I did want to talk about before I get into the two main sections is that there are foreshadowing in this. The first one we see is in the very beginning. We see the main character's dad hanging there. First off, that caught me off guard and kind of jump scared me. There are jump scares in this movie which make it worth it, and I don't think are cheap at all. There are jump scares, but we see her dad there, something that will be very important by the end of the movie. So the second foreshadowing is Benji, and honestly, I feel so bad for this guy. I'm gonna be honest. So Benji has had it the worst. He was crawling through these bones, and then he gets stuck while the choir that's going on in these caves start to get louder and louder. He frees himself, and I was like, yay, Benji's not dead. So then we see this bungee rope or climbing rope, and he slips and he hits the person below him. But he survives, but it also foreshadows how he dies. You see, how he dies is he's stuck on that same climbing rope in a later part. This time, he falls and he dies. And I really like that foreshadowing because you see him fall and then it comes back later and that's what kills him. It's like, I'm honestly gonna be honest, he had like 2 strikes and on the third one, he was out. Like the bones was the first one, rope breaking was the second, and finally him falling was the third and final strike. And there was nothing he could do, and it was really sad because I did like Benji. So the first cave is really creepy because Scarlett picks up a phone, and that phone correlates to her dad, and then George plays the piano that was broken on the same exact key that he said. It's clearly like psychological warnings in a way before they get into the second cave. But before we get into the second cave, you gotta realize, like, compared to later, nothing goes on in this cave, but the atmosphere and effects are good. So they get to the second cave, and this second cave has a warning: abandon hope, all ye enter here. I think that's how that goes. And if you don't know what that is, they're talking about the gates of hell. And then they continue the passage because they have to crawl, and there's a little more of a passage, so that was really creepy. And then the cave itself was really creepy. Airplane. And fire trucks or police cars. Oh my god, what is happening? Of course that happens, right? I'm talking about hell. Jesus. Anyways, the second cave is creepy because so much happens. First off, the heavy dirty soul car is in here. First off, Susie dies from I think a ghostly apparition of Lataupe, and that was brutal. And then Pop dies from a car. I like how the way they die has something to do with something either hidden in them or guilt or something from earlier. You don't know. Honestly, Benji's the one I'm not very clear on, because they're literally in hell, and it was such a cool concept, which is why I feel like this film deserved a lot more than it did back then. So I actually forgot to talk about this. Right when they enter the gates of hell, the first thing they say is everything's not in the right spot. Now let me tell you something. I'm gonna get a little philosophical or religious teachings. So if you know or don't know that Satan's symbol is like the upside down cross and the star. The Antichrist is the opposite of Christ, and that is like Satan. That is hell stuff. That's why everything's associated with the devil that's upside down from original Christian symbols. They are literally the anti of it, so that's why the cross is upside down. That's why the star is usually upside down. That's what that means. So as soon as they said, oh, everything is wrong, that's how you know, because the opposite of God is reversed. So that whole room is reversed, telling you, yeah, well, this is it. Especially in the painting where it shows as above, so below, that's also turned. That's also reversed. Once again, signifying that it is indeed, you are in hell. Yeah, and then they finally make it out, and it is like a speechless ending, which I really liked. I mean, it cuts back to another thing, but the ending is good. I really liked it. I didn't expect them to honestly survive. Maybe the camera, but I didn't expect them to survive. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. It was way better than I thought it was going to be. And honestly, it deserves so much more credit than when it was given to when it was first released. This is such a standout movie to me. So yeah, I give it 4.5 stars. Hold on, let me get this out of the way. Why are we still here? Can we go to the next day, please?
Yeah, sorry, we had to cut. We had to cut right here.
What?
Just spoke with the producer. He said that your yap limit was reached, and we have to cut right here. We can't go any longer. We have to end it right here, mate. I'm so sorry.
I'm only halfway through. Why can't we just keep going?
Not me, the producer. Take it up with him.
Producer? This is my show. I can do what I want. Hold on, let me talk to him. Hey guys. So I had a very long and thoughtful, insightful talk with my producer. And we decided that it's probably best to split this video up into two parts. Yeah, we're gonna split this video up into two parts. I was just talking for too long, and I didn't want to do that to you guys. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. These batch of movies were really fun to watch, and I enjoyed it a lot. So if you watched it this far, I want to say thank you so much for watching this video. It means the world to me. And if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like. If you want to see more videos that are coming on the way, because I do have a couple series lined up. We do, right? We have a couple series coming out. So yeah, if you want to stay tuned for those, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that bell every time I upload. And yeah, I will see you guys either on Halloween or November 1st. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Peace.